G'day guys, have you noticed in the health and fitness industry that it's kind of glorified to do your exercise, or in this case, riding in the morning?
Every morning I wake up at 5 a.m. sharp. It's time to run.
It doesn't really ring true for me, and as a coach, as someone who also rides in the afternoon/evenings generally, I think there are a lot of benefits to riding in the afternoon as opposed to riding in the morning. For a lot of us who are these days either work freelance or have more flexible working arrangements, which are really quite common. A lot of people have a choice of when they can ride. I've noticed this in my coaching. I've got a lot of people that can ride in the middle of the day, in the afternoons. So it's somewhat topical that people are starting to make the decisions now around when they want to do their training in the day. Biggest number one reason why I prefer training in the afternoon is that I find it's easier to lose weight or manage weight when I'm training in the afternoon. I just find it much easier to manage my diet if I don't have the training in the morning and then be dealing with the sort of hunger fluctuations that come with that through the middle of the day, afternoon and evening. Let's say I'm training at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That means I can get up, have my normal breakfast, do my work, have my normal lunch, wait till the afternoon and then have my small pre-ride snack and then fuel my training with high carbohydrate that I do for every ride. And then once I'm done with that, it's pretty much just dinner and bed. That's not the case if you train in the morning. When I train in the morning, and this tends to happen for me on the weekend, so I might do like a Saturday ride, and that whole Saturday, it's really annoying, really. I'm not a massive foodie, so for me, dealing with that sort of hunger and constantly having to eat all through the day, I just find quite annoying. Keep in mind as well, for me, I'm training at the moment around between 16 to 22 hours a week. So it's quite a big volume of training. A lot of these things in this video are gonna apply to someone who's training more than about 12 hours a week. All right, second biggest reason is that it allows me better focus on my work, on my job, which is coaching. This is my priority. I don't want my work to suffer due to the fatigue that's coming on from training. So this works because I can get up in the morning. I will work from pretty much as soon as I get up and do my sort of day's worth of work. That is worth way more. Let's say a 5-hour stretch from 7 in the morning till 12 o'clock lunchtime. I will get way more done in that 5 hours. The quality of work I get done when I haven't done strenuous exercise in the morning is a lot higher. And this kind of goes against what some, I guess, influencers would say in sort of the health space where they're like, oh, I do my exercise in the morning, it gets me so invigorated and I feel awesome. Yeah, maybe if you're a recreational athlete doing like a 45-minute walk or something very light. But if you're training properly with a high volume at a competitive level, the fatigue you get from that, at least in my experience, affects the quality of my work, which I don't want to have. You can get through this, and this is probably what a lot of people do. You can get through your day just by having more coffees, essentially. I think that's what a lot of people in the office space do. They'll ride in the morning. They might ride from 5:30 till 7:30 in the morning, get into the office, and they have to be using a lot of caffeine really to get through the day, unless they're going to bed super early at night. And that's not ideal either from a recovery point of view, to be using caffeine to stay awake and be productive throughout the day. On the odd day when you need to do it, it's fine, but to be doing that habitually is not good. Caffeine raises cortisol being a stress hormone, which will hamper recovery. It's not a state that you want your body to be in when you're trying to recover. Okay, next reason is a bit more specific and isn't useful all the time, but it is in specific cases where you might be slightly under-recovered or under-fueled. It allows you to adjust your fueling throughout the day to make up for a deficit. So let me explain the scenario here. You've done a session the day before, and you know sometimes you'll do a training session and you feel okay that day, but then you wake up the next morning and you step out of bed, you walk up the stairs and you go, oof, the legs are pretty cooked today. If you had to train in the morning, you can't really do anything there. You basically just have to get on the bike and get on with it. If you train in the afternoon, though, you can do something about it, because sometimes, depending on the type of fatigue, which I'm not going to get into in this video, but you can usually tell based on the feeling you've got, if that fatigue is coming from low glycogen, a low carbohydrate availability from the day before. If that's the case, you can use the 6 or 7 hours from the morning till the afternoon to increase your carbohydrate intake to make up for that. Then you can get on the bike, fuel as normal, and chances are you're probably going to feel better in the afternoon than you did in the morning because you've got that extra 5, 6, 7 hours to get your body moving again and have that carbohydrates you're eating throughout the day processed through and be stored as glycogen. Again, with that one, it isn't the case always that just because you're tired, you didn't eat enough. This is a rarer one, but there are cases where your fatigue is coming from a glycogen depletion the day before. And again, if you're training in the morning, you don't necessarily have time to make up for that. So that's a useful one in rarer cases. Okay, last one is it's easy to adjust training based on life stress. Here's a scenario for you. Again, a lot of these are scenario based. This scenario is you wake up in the morning, you go throughout your day, which you thought was going to be a pretty cruisy day. Phone's ringing off the hook, something comes up at work, a family member's sick, just crap keeps coming on and piles on. By the time you get to the afternoon, you're like, whoa, that day was way more stressful than I had planned. I was meant to do a 2-hour ride with efforts this afternoon. If you're training in the afternoon, you can actually go, all right, this day was way too stressful. I'm not going to go and try and attempt that session. I'm just going to lower the intensity perhaps, or maybe even skip the ride altogether in extreme scenarios, but basically make some adjustment to that session based on the stress you hadn't predicted throughout the day. It's not all sunshine and rainbows though, training in the afternoon. Just very quickly, I'm going to run through some of the downsides of training in the afternoon. It's worth mentioning. First thing is that you need to be very disciplined. There's a lot of people that train in the morning because they know if they wait till the afternoon, they'll probably just skip the session. So you have to be disciplined. It's very easy. You get to 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you go, there's no freaking way I'm getting on the bike. If that's you, don't leave your training to the afternoon because you'll skip half your sessions. If you live in a hot climate as well, somewhere where it's summer, a lot of people just can't train in the afternoon because it's so hot. I coach some people in Singapore, and for them, it's like they pretty much have to be off the bike by 9 a.m. because if they wait until later in the day, it's like 38 degrees. It's just too hot to ride in. So if you're somewhere where it gets very hot, training in the afternoon is not going to be ideal either. Final downside as well is it's harder to use caffeine as an ergogenic aid. A lot of people use caffeine to improve performance. You don't really want to do that if you're training in the afternoon because you don't want to have 150 milligrams of caffeine at 5 o'clock in the evening because it's just going to really affect your sleep and you'll go to bed a lot later and just has this whole cascade of effects, which isn't the case if you're using caffeine in the morning. So if you're someone that is big on caffeine habitually, or if you really like using it in your training, you're best doing more of your sessions in the morning so you can really load up with the caffeine in the morning and not have that impact downstream. That is the wrap for this video. Hope you found it interesting and provided a bit of counterbalance to the morning training frothing. Thanks for watching anyway. As usual, catch you in the next one.